Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Wednesday the 2nd of April and in this educational video there is no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. It is purely for educational purposes only, and it's just to show you how I read the charts from a technical analysis point of view. So today we'll start with Nvidia. That Monday actually was a pretty good day. Well, it's not really a good day, but it opened lower, closed higher, and followed through yesterday. Ended up at 1.5%, trying to bounce back. It kept itself above 102, which was the support here, and above the 100, 101. We could maybe see a little bit further bounce the next few days. What is key also towards is that the RSI, there is currently no divergence at this low level here on the RSI. Matches this one. The higher close here was here, so there's actually no divergence. We had negative sentiment, so we could still turn even more sour again. Looking at the weekly chart, however, it is key to watch the RSI here on weekly, still above 40 threshold. If it does close below 40 threshold, well, then they could spell really much more trouble in the coming weeks if it ends the week below 40 threshold. If it takes out the lows here from this week at 106.47, then I think we'll see it moving even below 100 and down to 90. But for now, we are in a bouncing mode, at least short term. On the overall indices, and S&P 500 also bounced over the past couple of days after last week's sell-off. Seems like the buyers are really coming in here, but again, there's no divergence on the RSI. We have to look at the closing prices, which indicates that we could see lower levels. You can't rule it out, but for now we are bouncing a little bit. We still have this top and reversal pattern in place, so to really turn this around, S&P 500 needs to close above 5,800, about 5,787 to be exact. So we are still a bit depressed, but for now I think we could bounce a little bit further towards 5,700, maybe even up to the 200 moving average, and then let's see what happens. But if it takes out the lows from the past few days, well, then the downtrend is continuing. Same picture on Nasdaq. No divergence on the RSI. The lows here are fine with the lows here, and they corresponded nicely with this, and the closing prices here are higher than over here, and so is the RSI. So we are still negative sentiment, but let's see what can happen. What we can do, we can try to put a guideline in here, a trend line, say, okay, if RSI moves back above this falling trend line there, maybe we could be in for a bigger bounce towards 20,000 and even up to the 200 moving average, currently around 20,316. Dow Jones Index, well, was more or less unchanged yesterday, still below the 200 moving average, no divergence on the RSI. If Dow Jones closes below 41,412, well, then a downtrend is resuming. We are in a downtrend, lower lows and lower highs and lower lows, but let's see if it can actually push back. The 200 moving average still rising, the 155 more or less flat, so not giving much guidance, but the guidance is also that it is not declining, so they are not declining, indicating that it is a little bit more, a little bit stronger than Nasdaq and S&P 500. Before moving on to the European markets, let's have a look at Nikkei, because a bit of interesting development after it broke below this slightly rising channel here. This morning here in early session, this is the future we are looking at, the Nikkei 225 future we're looking at, it actually touched and bounced from the 35,120, that little support there back from September last year. If it takes out that, well, then there is further decline. But I think we'll see a bounce here that could take it above 36,000, maybe 37,000. But we are in a bearish trend, and I think it will continue. And looking at the weekly chart, we can also see how it turned around here. Currently negative sentiment on the RSI. It's actually been on a negative sentiment for quite some time. So there could be a further downside for Nikkei, but for now we are in a bouncing mode. On the European markets, Eurostoxx 50, here we have Eurostoxx 50 that on the last day of March bounced from the 5,228 support back above the other level here that was key, 5,285, and so it had a fairly good day yesterday. Can it continue today? Currently we are indicating a little bit lower here before market opens. The CFD is trading just below the 5,313, needs to close above for further upside potential, and if it does close above 5,367, then I think we will see the bullish trend resuming. The DAX index also had a fairly good day yesterday, still above the cloud, still positive sentiment on the RSI, indicating it could bounce further. And here pre-market, it is just a tad lower, but we are also above the cloud here on the CFD future. So I think we could bounce out. However, if it does close below 22,115, downtrend has been confirmed. Euro dollar more or less moving sideways, a little bit weaker here after it being rejected at 104.44, which is the 50% of this downtrend here, or this correction here. So we are a little bit in a limbo. I still believe we will push higher, but if it takes out 107.30, then we could see your dollar lower towards 106.50 level, 106.30 maybe even. If it takes out the that little spike up there at 108.50, then I think we'll see it pushing towards 109 and higher. Sterling dollar still trading sideways in this range between 128.60 and 130.15. Euro sterling also a little bit indecisive, bouncing from the 61.8 retracement, but it needs to get back above 83.90. Then I think we'll see uptrend resuming. Dollar yen, well, also a little bit range bounce, 151 and a quarter. We now see that the 55 moving average has broken below the 200, and they are both declining, meaning we have a death cross. Of course, a lot of the action has been going on, but it's not a bullish signal, that's for sure. So I think we'll see here in the coming days a push lower below 148.60, 65, where we have some support that is key. But if we are taking out that, well, then we are pushing lower towards the 144.80. The euro yen. Oh, let's move it up there. The euro yen, well, also after bounced from 160.70 here, still in this. That is the key level to watch out for, look out for. It's the 100 moving average also. So also a little bit wait and see mode there. I mean, we are in a bullish trend, but it is a little bit heavy. But we have positive sentiment, but it's not really convincing, to be honest. There should be potential up to 165, but you can see that the 200 moving average, the 100, they're kind of dragging it lower. So keep an eye on this 160.70 there. That is key. Aussie yen, well, still 93 here. That is key, and the upper falling trend line. I think it will be taking out eventually the 93 level. But if it breaks above the upper falling trend line, we could see a push up towards 96, maybe even 97. But you will see all the moving average there declining. The cloud is declining. So and we are in a negative sentiment, indicating we are likely to push lower in the coming days and weeks. We just need confirmation. Sterling yen still frustrating. What's really going on with it? I mean, we do have positive sentiment on the RSI. We do have an uptrend, but it seems like it can't follow through. But I think if it takes out 195 once again, then we will see a push higher. But the the moving averages are declining. However, the 55 has turned around, so can give a little bit support. I believe we will be in this range here for quite some time, so I'll stay away until I see a real movement. Aussie dollar, well, has bounced, trying to get back above the cloud. The RSI also bounced from 40 threshold, meaning we are still in a positive sentiment. It closed above 60 threshold right there, so we are still in a positive sentiment. So it is a little bit hard to read sometimes, and that's how it is, and that's why I will wait a little bit. I mean, we got below the rising trend line here. We got below the cloud. We got below the support. But has bounced strongly. Well, if it takes it out once again, then I think we'll see a massive sell-off down to around 61. But for now, I think it could bounce further up to 63 and a half. But sometimes things are a little bit difficult to read. Sometimes we also need to get a guide from the weekly, and there is really just a lot of noise, a lot of volatility here without any direction. So in this case, we don't get that either. So stay on the sideline if you're trading Aussie dollar. I won't want to see direction. Dollar Canada rejected at resistance at 144. And still caught in this range here. I know it spiked above, didn't close above, so we are still between 142.40 and 144, and that's the breakout direction. It should break out to the upside because positive sentiment on the RSI, but we are also below the cloud, so a little bit in the limbo. 100 moving average rising, supporting higher levels on dollar Canada. Sterling Canada rejected at the 61.8 retracement at 186.14, and if it takes it out, then I think we'll see a move to 187 and also higher, 188, possibly a new high. Key support down here at 183.45. Swiss franc and Euro Swiss still in a bouncing mode. I still believe we will see it up to the 61.8 retracement, just below 96, possibly up to the 786 retracement at 96 and a quarter. There is a little bit divergence here, but you can see that the RSI, if it gets back above 60 threshold, then I think we'll see a push higher on Euro Swiss. Dollar Swiss, sideways range between 88.65 and 87.55. So that's the breakout it's needed for that. Excuse me. Dollar index. Also a little bit of wait see position here. After bouncing, it has this kind of a top candle there. If it takes out that, well, then we're looking at least the 200 moving average and the 104.65 level. But I still believe that we will see your dollar higher. So I also think that we'll see the dollar index lower. But it could also be the other way around. But this negative candle needs to be taken out if it should establish a bullish trend. As we talked about yesterday, that gold looked a little bit stressed, and it seems like maybe we should have a correction that could take it down to just above 3,056, which is the 61.8 retracement of that little leg up there, and the support, and then I think we'll bounce and push higher. If it takes out the peak from yesterday, well, then we are looking at 3,250. If it takes out 3,056 and the key support here, of course, just around 2,999 and a change, that is really, really key. If it takes out that wall, then we are really in for a larger sell-off. But I don't think so. But we could see a minor correction there. Silver is very indecisive, really. After making new highs, I think it should still make a new highs, but what I will do, I will add Fibonacci to this one here and say, okay, so what are we talking about? Almost got down to the 61.8 retracement at 33.40, basically at 33.5, dip a little bit below there. But I think it will bounce. However, if it takes out the lows from yesterday, then we are looking at 33 level likely to be tested. Copper in a correction mode after this top candle here, the shooting star, currently trading around 38.2 retracement, just around 504. Still risk of a correction down to the 61.8 and key strong support here at 483. So keep an eye on that. It could occur because that has been one hell of a ride here. However, if it starts moving back above 520, well, then maybe it will try to cancel this top and reversal pattern there and push for another high. Energy and WTI crude oil spiked just a bit above the 786 retracement at 71.87, and I think now we will have a correction down to the 70.45 level, maybe a bit lower. What you can also do here, you can say, okay, that could be it for at least now, and we could see a correction down to, you can see what is interesting, the 38.2 is exactly the same as the 50% of the upside. So we could see a correction down to around that level, maybe 69.5. So really key, and I will remove this one, it's just making noise. So a little bit of correction phase. However, if it takes out the peak from yesterday, then a push up to 73.68, maybe 74 is in the cards. The crude oil, Brent crude oil, rejected at the 786 retracement at 75.25, and I also think here we will see a setback, possibly lower to the 72 level. What I will also do there, just clean this up a little bit because they are a bit obsolete now. But what we can say, okay, we now have possibly a nice uptrend. So where could it correct to? There we are. Possibly down to the 38.2 retracement at 72.63 could be seen. The European gas still in this range here between 40 and 44. The US nat gas got rejected here at 4.25, so now it finds itself just in this range here between 370 and 425. That is the breakout I want to see, either to the upside or to the downside. Treasury yields and the US 10-year Treasury yields has bounced off the support here at 412. If it takes it out, then we are looking at 4%. It's actually a big shoulder-like pattern that it is unwinding. Steep neckline here, which is a bit unusual. So you can see it's a bit of a Quasimodo shoulder. Nevertheless, there is potential down to around 4% in a last leg down, but let's see if it can keep itself above this 412 support. The 2-year, well, in a bearish trend with a potential down to 376 and maybe 370. On the European yields, we have the EU 10-year yield still 265. That is key towards, if it takes it out, well, then next is 258, and trying to close this gap here. Let's see, or if will it bounce off. The UK 10, well, key support here around 458, 455, and the lower rising trend line, that is key towards. We have a top and reversal pattern here, like a double top thing going on. So if it takes out this 455 around here, well, then we could see it drifting lower towards 440. But if it bounces off, it could have another go at the 480 resistance. Bitcoin bounced off this 61.8 retracement. We talked about it yesterday. Could still climb higher towards 88, 88, 800 key resistance, where we also have the 55 moving average coming down. If it takes out the lows here from a few days ago at 81, 265, then a downtrend has resumed. Ethereum still key, that it bounced off the support here at 1755, testing the upper falling trend line, a break above, then we're looking at 2100. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again later.